As a lifelong cat lover, I couldn't wait to adopt a feline companion when I moved into my new apartment. I loved everything about cats, the way they purred, the way they snuggled up next to me at night, and the way they always seemed to know when I needed a little bit of comfort. So when I saw a scrappy little black cat with bright green eyes at the local shelter, I knew I had to take him home. At first, everything seemed normal. The cat, whom I named Midnight, was playful and affectionate. He quickly became my constant companion, following me from room to room and curling up in my lap whenever I sat down. But as time went on, I began to notice strange things about Midnight. For one, he never seemed to eat. I would put out bowls of food and water every day, but the bowls were always untouched when I checked on them. And despite his lack of nourishment, Midnight never lost weight or appeared to be sickly in any way. I tried to brush it off as nothing, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something off about my beloved feline. I started to notice other strange things happening around my apartment as well. Doors would open and close by themselves, and I would often hear strange noises coming from the shadows. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but as the occurrences became more frequent and more bizarre, I couldn't ignore them any longer. Any night, I was awoken by a loud crash in the kitchen. I jumped out of bed and rushed to investigate, only to find that all of my pots and pans had been knocked off the shelves and were now scattered across the floor. And there, sitting in the middle of the mess, was Midnight, watching me with his eerie green eyes. In that moment, I realized that my cat was not what he seemed. He was not a cat at all, but some kind of otherworldly creature that had taken on the form of a feline in order to infiltrate my home and observe me. I was terrified, but I didn't dare move or make a sound. I stood there, frozen in fear, as Midnight continued to stare at me for what felt like an eternity. As I looked into his eyes, I saw something that chilled me to the bone. There was no trace of the warmth and affection that a normal cat would have. Instead, there was only cold, calculating intelligence and a deep, unyielding hunger. I knew then that I was in grave danger. Midnight was not just observing me, but studying me, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I had to find a way to get rid of him before it was too late. I decided to take drastic action. I gathered all of my courage and shouted at Midnight, telling him to leave my home and never return. To my surprise, he complied, disappearing into thin air as if he had never been there at all. I never adopted another cat, and I never forgot the terrifying encounter with a creature that had infiltrated my home and played upon my love for felines. It was a lesson that I would never forget. Always be careful what you bring into your home, because you never know what it might truly be.